Good morning. Echoes. Good morning and welcome to the Albuquerque Center for Spiritual Living. I am Joanna Clark. I'm a licensed spiritual practitioner. Please join Ben and I this week for Spirit Calling at 9 a.m. each morning for an inspirational message. You will also receive a daily affirmation at 6 p.m. We are honored that you've chosen to be here with us this morning, either here or online. Whether you're joining us on Facebook or YouTube, please use the chat to let us know that you're here and feel free to share as our time together unfolds. Our theme today is free play. Yeah. As we continue our series, Living a Life of Rest and Play. Please join me in our mission statement. We are love in action, transforming lives, transforming communities. Thank you. I think that Spirit loves to play. For example, this is not the week that Ben and I were originally scheduled to do Spirit Calling. The first time that we were given did not work with our schedule, and as we tried to change, it wasn't really working out. And last Sunday, a practitioner said, I'll switch with you, and it was this Sunday. So when I read Amani's notes for the service, I laughed with delight. Why? Because the talk today is about play and improvisation. Well, that's my jam. Ben and I belonged to an improv group for many years. We would meet once a week, spend time in silence and low light, tuning within, and then we would see what the impulse was, what our body wanted to do, and when we began to move in that way. So each one of us were moving in our own unique, inspired way. We created such structures as bus stop, heads and tails, duet circle, early memories, and many more. It was so much fun. High play, adult play. Speaking of high, we have two practitioners sitting high watch for us today, Dean Hiltpold and Jerry Crippen. Thank you so much to both of you. So let's turn to prayer as we begin our sacred time together. There is one energy, one life. Each one of us is part of that one. We belong to that one life. Spirit is the center and the whole of that one. It contains all the qualities that we can imagine. Love, peace, creativity, wisdom, lightness, confidence, wholeness, abundance, rest, and play. We are one with the one, and we have access to all of those qualities and much more. We are each a unique, irreplaceable expression of that one. We come together to remember this and to empower ourselves with choices that can express the qualities that we desire. This service is a beloved idea in the one mind. The gathering is blessed. Reverend Amani is blessed. And the message that we are about to receive is blessed. I'm grateful for all the work that has gone into making this service happen. The sound, the lights, setting up the chairs, the thought and caring that is expressed for all our sakes. Thank you to all who are listening in person and with us via virtual technology. We're grateful for each one of your presence here. And we anchor this together by saying, and so it is.
Good morning. I'm Ben Clark. I'm also a licensed spiritual practitioner, and I will be sharing this week's Spirit Calling with my darling wife, Joanna. And I know it's going to be fun because the focus is on play. Sometimes in my life I forget that that's an important part. So in line with this week's theme, more fun, more play. I've played tennis pretty much all my life, so it's over 65 years now. And through good times and bad, I've had fun, at least a couple times a week. And that keeps some kind of perspective going. I've had a special delight just lately. My granddaughter Kaya is learning how to play tennis. And we went to a lesson this week, and with a new instructor. And Kaya was nervous. And then she saw that the instructor was Eric also. And she was like, "Oh, right." And we were there for an hour, and this guy packed so much into that hour, and it was so much fun. And she just paid total attention. She was just completely absorbed, and what a thrill it was for me to pass something on to my granddaughter. So now's the time when you're all invited to come up to the altar, to the front of the room, and light a candle and say what your intention is or an aspiration, either in silence, or you can come to this microphone here in the front of the room. If you're joining us online today, or either on YouTube or Facebook, please add your prayer or candle emoji in the chats so we can include you in this practice. Come on up.
I would like to acknowledge Carol and George, who are assisting us with lighting the candles this morning. Lynn Peavy would like us to light a candle for all of those who need to take time to play. Light a candle for Grace and Emmanuel and their family this morning.
I'd like to light a candle for Brenda Briscoe. Good morning, Brenda.
I'm lighting a candle for our family. We're having a family meeting later today, and I'm knowing that it's loving, informative, and that we can play, and I'm ready to improvise with whatever gets thrown at me.
I lit a candle for Mary Fogarty, who passed on Saturday, and I want to thank all of you for your prayers and wonderful thoughts. I'm sure she felt them as she floated away. Thank you.
Blessed be.
Let's light a candle for Kenny Wilson, who's at a recovery meeting and getting a 6-month sober chip today.
Yay, Kenny! A candle for Bill. Alexis Lindsay would like us to light a candle. That's my uncle, Uncle Bill, for health and happiness.
Please light a candle for Vanessa Aaron Owen.
It's for my cat. She's on a trip to California, and I'm so happy for her because it's on her bucket list.
Yay, happy travels for Kat.
Let's light a candle for Joy Lynn, who's online and watching, and knowing that she's going to be feeling a lot better.
I lit a candle for my family who are very dear to me and have always supported me.
Let's light a candle for Kelly Sandin, who's online this morning.
And one for Lori Martinez.
So let's anchor your prayers as we affirm that all your prayers are already answered, as they are placed in the loving law that always says yes. And so it is.
So it is.
Good morning. I'm Mary DeGuero. I'm a spiritual practitioner here, and I will be doing the sacred reading. And speaking of play, one of my delights this morning, well, not just this morning, my cat loves for me to chase her down the hall. And she runs up to her tree. That's her safe place. And I move away and she comes back and we do it again. I love it. So I was inspired by Maddie to write my own sacred reading. And I'm calling it The Play of Observation. When on my walks, or through my dining room window, or in my backyard, these observations give me a delight and a sense of playfulness, and I see spirit playing through nature and playing in my joy. At any time of day, seeing a black crow way up on a pole calling out and waiting, and from a distance, another crow responds. Watching a roadrunner dash from a bush, long tail swaying, then running across the street with a gecko in its mouth. Seeing a roadrunner in the yard with a mouse hanging from its mouth, followed by a ritual dance in preparation for mating. Seeing my cat, Susie, looking through the window, intensely focusing on something outside. I follow the direction of her gaze and see two roadrunners sitting tall on the apex of the neighbor's roof. A small, lesser sparrow that I call a yellow belly, perched on a sunflower stem, stretching its neck to another stem to get seeds from the flower. the constant chatter of birds in the apple tree and at the bird feeders. What are they telling each other? In the park, the community of dogs, while on their walks with their people, eagerly greeting each other and romping together. The arc of the rainbow in the evening sky that lasts just a few minutes. A Cooper's hawk sitting for an hour on the rim of the bird bath with just its foot in the water. The first cluster of yellow leaves in the neighbor's oak tree after a few cool evenings. The energy of the children who play with abandon as they chase each other, running and squealing in the schoolyard. Early in the morning, seeing birds perched on telephone wires in a formation that looks like notes on a musical scale. I've tried singing the melody. Seeing Susie, my cat, use her paw like an arm to open a slightly ajar door to leave the bedroom and go into the hall. So these wonders expand and delight me, fill my heart with gratitude, and open my inner child's joy to the beautiful and intelligent communities in nature. O Spirit, loving itself and playing through its creation. Thank you.
Oh, Spirit, loving itself and playing through its creation. Thank you, Mary. Because that's what we're going to talk about today. We've been in the series of rest and play. And I was thinking about, why? Why in a spiritual community are we talking about rest and play? Why are we talking about rest and play when it seems like the whole world is crumbling on its axis, right? And yet I was thinking so much about what it means to be the life of the one, to be this place where we get to be in creation, in co-creation, to be the expression of the divine. And even when the world is crumbling, even when it feels like it's all on fire and falling apart, how do we more fully awaken our aliveness in spirit? And so I'm really aware that in this time, in this moment in history, that this practice of resting and this practice of play is critical for us to get really good at, because this is where the new normal gets to come from. How many of you have been waiting this last couple years for a new normal to arrive? Anybody? Like, when's it coming? Where is it? What's it gonna be? When are we gonna know what to expect? When is it going to be a kind of life that I can rely on again? Do I keep a mask in my purse? Do I not keep a mask in my purse? Do I have to have hand sanitizer from now and forever? Am I always going to work from home, or are we going back? I don't know. And this new normal, I believe, this great invitation, this great opportunity for the new normal is that we get to consciously co-create the new normal, and we can do so from play. We can do so from restedness. And that when we align ourselves in that space that is the divine living itself through us consciously and intentionally, with all of our power and capacity, because we've rested, because we've remembered what it means to create, that our very lives are a work of art. Wow, what becomes possible in the new normal, right? I've been studying, again, a book that I fell in love with many, many years ago called Free Play. And it's really about the metaphor of improvisation as a way of life. And he says, to be infinitely sensitive to the world around us and feel the work in front of us, and to listen for our intuitive voice, our muse, as she was once called, our genius, as he was once called. This reflects what's around us, and it gives us the opportunity to transform matter, time, and space through our own original being. Doesn't that sound like science of mind? Doesn't that sound like manifestation, co-creation? And this ability to meet time from the muse, to respond to her call. This is how we create the normal that we actually want to be living in. And I love this idea that what inspiration is there is something in us that moves us, that rises into being and creates a feeling that wants to be expressed. This is the muse, this is the genius, this is the divinity within us that is looking for its expression through us. And play is actually what is happening when we consciously connect to that inspiration, to that muse, to that genius, and then allow ourselves to express whatever's rising. We think of play as a child's thing, right? We think of creating as an artist's thing. Anybody be like, I'm not creative? I hear it all the time. I'm not an artist. I'm not creative. You are creating every moment of every day. It is what we are up to around here. Now, what we are creating, how we are creating, how we are allowing our very being to be a resonant creator in this universe that we know is a metaphysical universe. This is the work of spiritual living, is to play consciously, intentionally, and to recognize that every opportunity is an opportunity to create more love, more good, more wonder, more joy, more connection. But we have to know ourselves to be the creative expression of the one. We have to be very conscious and intentional of what is rising in me. What is attempting to have voice? What is wanting to be manifested in my reality? And I think play needs to be part of our practice so that we can answer those questions, not from a place of figuring it out and solving problems and fixing the world, but from a place of what is rising in me? What is spirit trying to do through me? And what do we know about the nature of spirit? What do we know about the nature of the divine? What do we know about divine intelligence, Allah, the creator? It is always moving for good. Always. And it is an ever-expanding good that has gifted us with this opportunity to be the flesh and the body of that good. And if that is true, then whatever is divinely inspired in you is a part of that move for good. Martha Graham, from the dance world, told us that there is a vitality, a life force, an energy, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there is only one of you in all time, this expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium and will be lost. That's how important you are. That's how important your play is. Your inspiration, your expression. But I think as grown folks, we forgot, right? We forgot that there's this nature in us that is always ready to create, that is always ready to express, that is always ready to delight. But we must be willing to make play a practice to connect to that inspiration. Anybody experience like writer's block or artist block or just simply feeling uninspired in your life? Anybody? Wow, only 4 of us. Okay, that's more honest. I'm like, you are lying. And my beloveds online, please let us know in the comments. But being uninspired, feeling blocked, is not life doing something to you. The experience of being uninspired, the experience of being blocked, is you doing something to you. It means you've gotten disconnected. It means that somewhere along the way you lost touch with your true nature. Because that inspiration is always available. Spirit is always moving for good. And what do we know about Spirit? Spirit is omnipresent. Omnipresent means everywhere, all the time, never missing. And if that is true, then Spirit has to be moving in you all the time, never missing. So what does that mean for those of us who are like feeling really uninspired? Feeling like the world is going to hell in a handbasket and I got nothing. What happens when that thought, that feeling becomes your full attention? When you've determined, because of outer circumstances, because of policies and politicians, because of war, because of violence, because of hunger and greed and all the things that could be really easy to be bummed out about, right? When you make that your whole focus, where is your connection? What are you connected to? Anybody shout it out, put it in the comments feed. What are you connected to? The yucky stuff. You're connected to the yucky stuff. Fear. Negativity. Say again. Depression. Lack. Wanting control. Ooh, we're talking about that in September. We got to spend some time on that one. Separation. Thank you, David. David gets the gold star. If we are focused and believe that our entire reality are these conditions of the world, the conditions of our lives, the conditions of our relationships, the conditions of our bank account, the conditions. When we believe that that is all there is, we have separated ourselves from what actually is. The greatest ill of this humanity, of this aliveness, the greatest dis-ease that we suffer from is separation. And when we put our entire attention on outer circumstances and all the things that absolutely righteously should bum you out, but when we make that all there is, we have moved away from the divine. We have separated ourselves from a greater reality, a greater divinity that is here as well as here. So when we are disconnected and uninspired, we are in separation. We have separated ourselves not only from the divine, from the greater reality, we have separated ourselves from our own divinity. Because the muse the genius that is always calling to us, is always calling. And when we stop hearing it, when we stop connecting to that and letting that thing that is rising for its expression, when we've become disconnected from that, we've no longer put ourselves in the way of God. I've been thinking very much about this concept of transformation, which is our mission here at the Albuquerque Center, right? We are here to transform lives, your life, my life, individually and collectively. But if we are not willing to do the work of becoming aware, really honestly aware with like, what is my state of connection right now? And what am I willing to do about whatever that state is? Because that's what we're asking one another to do in this transformation. This work, this spiritual work, is not about controlling, thank you, Michaela, outer circumstances. This labor of love that we are all in is about connecting to our divine nature and letting that be the expression that we uniquely have to offer life itself. And it can be fun. Like really fun. Because God is fun. I'm going to tell a story on my mom. She didn't know I was going to do this today, but I was thinking about it this morning and I was like, got to tell the story. So we were having a conversation, something about the concept that we teach around here, that spirit is moving in you, as you, and through you. And that spirit has gifted us this aliveness so that it can have an experience of itself through our lives, through our living. And my mom said, well, if that's true, I'm here to give God a good time. I was like, heck yeah. This is spiritual living, is that we are here to be the expression of the good. And yes, we can look at outer circumstances in our own lives and globally and see the places where we have misstepped. Yeah? We've got evidence that we have not quite gotten this figured out, that we have not fully moved into the conscious awareness of love as our only existence. But we get to have a good time moving towards it. And the more we allow ourselves to play and be that unique expression of the one, to dance our way into greater awareness and consciousness of our actual nature, what do you think happens to the vibrational resonance of your being? Hello? So rather than treating play like child's business, as some sort of priority that's like not grown and not like what grown people do, you know, like somehow we are not good grown-ups if we prioritize playing and resting. And yet, every single one of us in this room and on the other side of those cameras want nothing more than a world that's more loving, than a world that is more consciously manifesting its inherent connectedness to one another. We all want a world where there is a belonging to one another that includes everybody. Yes? Yes. And do you think you're going to grown folk your way with all of your very serious priorities to get there? No. Do you think we're going to get there because we're terrified of what would happen if we don't? No. Do you think that we'll get there because we have stepped more fully as a divine priority into the truth of who we are? Yes. And would you like to play to do it? Yes. Right? Would you like to literally change the vibration of your entire life which then vibrates and resonates and changes the vibration of everything around you, transforming the communities that you belong in, because you've raised your vibration through joy. Because you've raised your vibration through allowing spirit to create life itself through your unique beingness. Does that sound like a world you'd like to live in? Yes. And I want you to take a moment right now, and I want you to remember a time of inspiration. Do it. You're all looking at me like I'm going to remember for you. Take a moment right now and think of a time of truly a moment in your life where you were inspired, where there was this thing that rose in you, whether it was an idea or an impulse, where the muse called you and you answered and allowed yourself to be moved in action. I want you to remember what that feels like in your body, because you're going to make friends with that feeling. You are going to determine that this is now a priority in your life, because you now know that this is how God gets here, is through your inspiration. And when you're unsure of what it is that you're supposed to do, because the world is falling apart and blah is happening in your bank and your relationships and blah and drought and climate change, when you are unsure of what it is you are to do as this drop in the ocean, I want you to remember what it feels like to be inspired. I want you to remember what it feels like to allow, consciously allow the muse, your genius, to move through you in action. Stephen Nachmanovich, who wrote Free Play, says, intuitive or inspired living means not just passively hearing the voice, but acting on it. Improvisation is intuition in action, a way to discover the muse and learn to respond to her call. So this thing that we call intuition, this thing that we call the muse or our genius, this thing we call inspiration, these are all synonyms for God moving through you. These are all names for the ways that your divine nature communicates. And this improvisational nature, I think about this with kids, right? When you watch kids, everybody has seen kids, been a kid who does all the pretend play, right? And it's like, okay, I'm gonna be the thing, and you're gonna be the thing. Okay, oh, no, you didn't kill me. That bullet didn't hit me. It bounced off and it flew over. I'm not dead. Right? You remember those games? It is constant improvisation. It is constant making it up. And kids have no problem making it so. Like, the bullet did not hit me. No, you didn't tag me. All of those absolute knowings as a child come from play. Come from willing to be so fully present in the moment and just be in constant making it up. And the truth is, our whole lives are a constant making it up. Stephen went on to say, do I believe what the man tells me, or am I going to try out things for myself and see what's really true? The scripts that we've been handed about how to be a grown-up, about how to be a good person, the scripts we've been handed that define success for us. Somebody else determined that, and we were handed a script, but the choice we have in it is whether or not we decide to live the script, whether or not we decide to accept the script, or if we gather up our courage and our bravery and go off script. Put the blueprints down that we've been handed. There is a God inspiring us to create life itself. These scripts are not creative. They are a set of rules, a set of agreements that may or may not serve the creation we are feeling inspired to create. It's actually a radical choice to determine your own inspiration and unique expression as the divine authority that you've been given. To know that your joy is powerful. Your joy, your muse expressed, is justice. Cornel West defines justice as what love looks like in public. If a more loving world is what it is we are after, then we must be the way of love. We must be the place love shows up. And we can't do that when we're disconnected. When we're disconnected or blocked, there is very confused, diminished, fearful expression then that comes through us, yes? And yet each of us is here by divine appointment to be the way of love, to be the way that God gets here. And when we move ourselves back into that child's place, that unapologetic, unafraid, brave, and courageous place of creation, then we become conduits, we become the flow, we become love itself. And so this idea of doing whatever it takes to be connected, which requires rest, which requires aligning ourselves with our joy and our delight, to remembering that there is a muse working in us, calling us, there is a genius in us because it is inherent to our nature as divinely created people. And that staying close to that, staying connected to that, is spiritual practice. So the other invitation I want to make to you is to remind yourself why it is you showed up in spiritual community. Why it is you ever opened a sacred text, went to church, sat on a meditation cushion, went to India in my case. Like, why is it? Do you remember what that impulse was? When you decided to become someone who was on a spiritual path? I ask because one of the things that I was really moved by in Stephen's writing was he talked about practice comes from inspiration. We practice the things that we come to as inspired improvisation. Like, wow, that was really fun. I really loved playing and making that up, and I want to do it more, and I want to get really good at it. That's why we practice. Is because we've discovered something from that place of inspiration, from that place of joy that is delightful, and we're like, yes, more please. So do you remember why? Why you came into a spiritual life, an intentional, conscious relationship with the divine? Because your practice becomes sustainable, becomes something that you really will prioritize when it's rooted in joy. When you remember why you wanted to know God. When you remember why you wanted to know yourself as the divine. Because practice is not boring grown folk stuff. If you're going to your meditation cushion or your yoga mat or whatever it is you do, and you're like, I got to meditate today. Oh, I haven't gotten on my yoga mat yet. Okay, let me go. Let me do it. Let me go. That means you are disconnected from your why, from the delight that Spirit is constantly offering. And so what if we decided that every day I'm going to now prioritize my joy? Even when it seems like everybody around me is suffering. I'm going to prioritize hearing the call of the muse when she calls, even when kids are starving to death every day. Because each one of us making that commitment, each one of us prioritizing our divine nature is the solution we are longing for on the planet. This is how you solve your relationship problems. This is how you solve your money problems. This is how you solve your neighborhood problems, your community problems, is to create from a high vibration, which means you now become an upliftment to everybody around you. And all the solutions, all the ways, all the change that needs to happen rises into you just like any other inspiration might. All of those ideas and those solutions, that's where they come from. The creative force of the one. And you'll know what to do because you've deeply committed yourself to being the way. And when those ideas rise, you gather up your courage and your bravery and all of your delight and say, yes. Oh, I am going to go knock on every neighbor's door because that idea rose in me and just see how they're doing. Beauty rose in me. So when I see garbage on the street, I'm going to pick it up because I delighted in a clean street. Whatever those little impulses that almost seem inconsequential. That's your muse calling. That's your genius calling. That is the divine saying, yes, let's live. Even fuller, even more love, even more kindness, even more compassion. And it starts with play. It starts with delight. It starts with passion. Because that's what's going to give us the juice. That's what's going to give us the conviction to continue to come back to that truth in the circumstances that are really hard to remember joy in. So rather than looking out here to get it, look in here and bring it. It is our divine call. It is entirely relevant to this moment in history right now. So we're going to practice a little bit together. I'm going to ask Clarissa to come on up. And I was thinking about how can we improvise together? And then I was on the phone with Kathy McGill. Hi, Kathy. Earlier this week, and I was remembering a song of hers, and I was like, that's what we're going to do. We're going to sing. So we're going to sing a song. Clarissa and I will sing through it a couple times, and then we're going to be asking you to shout out a word so we can change the lyrics as we go. Yeah? All right. And for those of you online, I'm going to hop on and look, and you can shout out new words for the song. Shout out, I'm air quoting right now, by commenting in the comment feed. All right, so, do you want me to start us off?
Yeah, I'll join in with you.
All right, so the song is Wherever I Am, God Is, and the brilliant, intuitive goddess muse, Jordana, put the words up for me, and I did not ask her to. Thank you, Jordana. All right, so we'll sing it through, and if you already know it, join right in. Wherever I am, God is. Wherever I am, God is. I found the source of my joy for the rest of my life. Wherever I am, God is. One more time. Wherever I am, God is. Wherever I am, God is. I found the source of my joy for the rest of my life. Wherever I am. All right, somebody shout out one word for me. Wherever you are, love. Wherever I am, love is. Wherever I am, love is. I found the source of my joy for the rest of my life. For wherever I am, God is. Right else? Joy. We're going joy. Wherever I am, joy is. Wherever I am, joy is. I found the source of my joy for the rest of my life. For wherever I am. All right, from online, Emmanuel says play. Wherever I am, play is. Wherever I am, play is. I found the source of my joy for the rest of my life. For wherever I am, play is. Maria Dare, silliness. Wherever I am, silliness is. Wherever I am, silliness is. I found the source of my joy for the rest of my life. For wherever I am, silliness is. Last one more shout from the room. Peace. Wherever I am, peace is. Wherever I am, peace is. I found the source of my joy for the rest of my life. For wherever I am, peace is. Yay. And so it is.
Giving us.
All right, I'm going to put my phone down. And Joanna, can you come on up? You can hang with me while we do this. So this is a time in our time together where I'm going to ask you to consider giving. And one of the things that I want you to think about giving to today is the idea that spiritual community gets to be more than what we normally think of as church. It gets to be the place where we actually become embodied practitioners of these principles. That is what you're given to today. I appreciate every donation. Thank you so much. You can text to give 505-847-8431. Click to give by going to our website, abqcsl.org. You can pick to give by taking a picture of our QR code. If you are in the room, you can head to the back when we wrap up, and there is an opportunity to do cash or check. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Wherever you are, God is. Wherever I am, God is. Please visit us at abqcsl.org. Thank you very much. I have to be in front of this thing, don't I? Yes. Thank you. Please visit us at abqcsl.org to view our calendar of events and find all the ways that you can join in the fun and the play. Please sign up for our newsletter and to receive daily morning spirit calls and evening affirmation. You're also invited to go to the About Us section of the website to choose a practitioner to pray with you. If you would like our practitioners and ministers to hold you in prayer during this week, please either email your requests to prayer@abqcsl.org or fill out a prayer announcement at the back of the room where I'm pointing on the left, or ask someone here to pray with you. Okay, we will end our time together in benediction. So if you're comfortable, close your eyes. I'm so grateful for this time together. I know that it has moved us into new ways of thinking and being. I know that as we go about our lives, we remember to rest, to play, and to celebrate and enjoy our uniqueness, our individual ways of being our version of the one. And I know that we can prioritize joy, play, love, peace, whatever we wish to create. I know that Spirit has heard every thought, every prayer, and is with us through the week. I let it go, knowing Spirit has it, and I let it be. And together we say, and so it is. And please join me in today's affirmation. Today, I move playfully and connect my body, mind, and spirit freely. Yahoo!